Luis Robert Jr. of the New York Mets has questions surrounding, is this performance real? Is this performance something that's going to be sustained all season long? Find out today.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. I'm Matthew Onna, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcasting network. Dom and I are longtime fantasy baseball analysts, and between the two of us, unfortunately, we have 40 years of fantasy baseball knowledge. And the reason we do this show is to share that knowledge with you. So wherever you're watching or listening, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. And make sure you don't miss a single episode all season long, because we're coming at you with episodes to help you win your leagues, from must-add episodes to trade for and away players, for, weekly recaps of players that are trending up and down. So many more episodes to help you win your league. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if that $5 bet wins, you get a $250 in bonus bets. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. All right. Now, enough with the pleasantries. Let's dig into the topic of the day. Luis Robert Jr. Is his performance real? What do you do with Luis Robert? Is he a sell high because he is a sexy name? Or is he a player that we feel is going to bounce back and we need to hold? These are the questions we have to answer as fantasy owners and as analysts, right? Like, I don't, you're coming to me because you need to know how to handle him. Right now, there's a lot of angles we could play this, right? And let's start off with just like, is this real? Wholeheartedly, I think it is. I think that what we're seeing is just like the tip of the iceberg kind of type deal, and there's more to come. Because I'll say this, the barrel percentage is low, and lowest I've seen it, period, in his career. Because normally he's about 9, 10, 11, 12%, barrel percentage. We're seeing it at 3.937. The hard hit percentage is down to at 37%. So where it's always normally been like 41, 40, and in that big year, 42. So he does have a history of having a better quality contact on the ball, better, hard contact percentage on the ball, which tells you there's more positive regression coming. And you look at it and go, well, he's putting the bat to the ball. He's batting 353 over the last week, 333 on the season. The X batting average on the season is a 261. So you look at all these factors and you go, man, this is appealing. And there could be more under the belly, because, again, we've seen this. Again, he's only 28 years old, and injury has honestly stopped him more than anything else. And I feel like him going to the Mets when he's 2 years out from his this season and next season before he has to get another contract is part of why he might start performing and be healthy over this year and next year. And I look at, okay, now is the batting average legit? Well, let's look into that. 19.6% strikeout percentage, walk percentage of 21.7. That's equating to a good batting average, and why also the X batting average is at 261. So I think that everything he's doing is actually repeatable, and he's actually taking strides to be successful behind the plate and keep his eye on the ball. I mean, even in spring, the guy did hit, 286 through 21 at bats. So, I mean, he is doing what he's supposed to be doing out there, and is, I feel, legitimate performance out there. And again, I feel like we're just scratching the surface. And if that's the case, you have to decide whether it's time to move him now, wait a little bit, or hold and just, bet on him being successful fighting for a contract. And that is kind of what you have to kind of be okay with in terms of making the decision to keep, or possibly him stay on the other side of it, him staying healthy after you trade him and being better than what you got in return. So we have to evaluate and see when the right time is to pounce, if you're going to pounce, and if you pounce at all. And that's going to be a question we're going to have to ask ourselves, and you're going to have to wait to find out the answer to right after this. The NBA playoffs are here, where every possession matters, every matchup is magnified, and every game can swing in a series. You know, you can bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. The app makes it easy to follow the action with player stats, trends, and matchups all in one place. And during the playoffs, an extra insight really matters when you looking at stars, role players, and key moments. It just makes the entire playoffs experience more engaging from start to finish. Head to fanduel.com to get started. That's FanDuel to play. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want a candidate who actually matches what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move. Because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to people who actually fit your specific criteria, like skills and certifications, plus location. And if I were hiring, I wouldn't just want someone who could help out. I want someone with real experience who could jump right in. That's what I like about Indeed. You can get specific targets, exactly what you're looking for. And it saves time because you're spending less energy sorting through mismatches. And here's some stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours has made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing with candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show will get $75 in job credit to help your premium status it deserves on Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed.
Hey, this is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, and when it comes to our futures, we all have great ideas when it comes to our job, when it comes to our house, when it comes to our vehicles, all that great stuff. But honestly, when it comes to securing that future, I don't know what I don't know. And when me and my wife sat down to figure out the life insurance thing, Ethos made everything simple. Everything's online, you have a quick and easy application process, and you find out exactly what you need for coverage all in one spot. Ethos makes everything so convenient when it comes to learning about your own life insurance, because insurance is something that is far beyond batting average or on-base percentage. It's way out in left field for me. Ethos made it all easy. Take just 10 minutes and get covered today with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times may vary and rates may vary.
All right, let's try and unpack the rest of this. So the question becomes, what do we do? Do we really hang on to him all season long, or do we trade him? So it depends on your situation. Are you loaded at outfield, or do you have enough bats where you feel like okay, you can do without Luis Robert? Then maybe that's something you consider. But do you do it now? Do we pull the trigger? I don't believe so. What I would do is wait. I'm still holding, but I'd trade. And he isn't a guy that I want to have as a piece. I want him as one of the focal points of the trade so I can go out and get somebody big. Now, what I'm hoping for is Luis Robert to get hot and that barrel percentage to start spiking along with that hard hit percentage so that we can start seeing some more power. Once the power comes in and the average is still there and everything is grooving in the right direction for Luis Robert, which I think is imminent, it's going to be a sell show if that's what you want to do. I again would be willing to do it for the right price, but also if the situation just calls for it. Everybody's different. If I'm loaded at bats, why hang on to a guy that could possibly get hurt? Mitigate the losses here and sell while the iron is hot and get somebody that can help and input plug into my lineup today because I can't even start them every day and I'm just holding on to them and they're just not fitting the mold every day. And that angle I could totally see, right? Pretty much the means to makes the ends, right? Like you got to see if that route fits your mold. And that's the only time I think I do it is when I'm like overly stacked at outfield or at bats and I need a pitcher or I need like a onesie player instead of an outfielder. and Luis Robert happens to be my 5 because in a lot of leagues, that is the reality of things. Luis Robert was drafted so low that you honestly could do that. You probably do have him as like your OF5 or your second bench bat, which is great. So that is the question you got to ask yourself. Now, here's the other side. What happens if you trade him and he stays healthy and he ends up breaking out the way I feel he's going to, because he's going to stay healthy again, fighting for a contract? Then he can also get an early contract to, lock him up for years. That's what Steve Cohen likes to do. So this could be a season where he's proving himself and why we're seeing a performance that we are. I mean, you look at players that play in contract years, and there's a strong history of them overperforming their careers, having career years during contract years, and playing for that money and trying to capitalize on their value at the moment. Plus, he's only 28 years old. So therefore, he's going to get the big money in the long contract. So why wouldn't he try and fight through injuries and play at his best that he humanly can? And also, too, he has something to fight for, too. He's on the Mets. So he actually has a team around him and not on some cruddy organization as the White Sox. So for me, it makes sense for me to want to bet on that. Now, if we start seeing that and there's a side where we lose this bet or he gets hurt because that's what he does, we lose, but it depends. I mean, again, are you really hurt by your fifth outfielder, your second bench bat? You can't recover from that? No. There's zero risk in holding on to him, too. Personally, where I'm at, I'm holding on to him. I think that the ceiling outweighs what I can get back in return at this moment, even if it gets hot. Unless I'm getting a really high end player, and it might take 2 players to do so, then I don't really want to trade him away. I feel like he'd probably do more for my team. Again, the only scenario is if I'm so loaded and I had such a good draft for bats that I'm willing to trade him. Other than that, Luis Robert, I think, is going to stay on my team. And I think he is going to bounce back. I'm telling you, a guy that does what he does in the power category and is hitting an extremely career low right now and through, small amount of at bats is bound to find the bat and strike with contact and power and start having some positive regression in both power numbers in terms of home runs and and contact. And that is going to lead to even more production. The fact that he has a good eye behind the plate, the fact that he's taking walks, is just makes it exciting and makes me want to own him even more. So, yeah, I want him. I want him on my team. Honestly, I'd probably even try to buy low right now. I think that you could probably sneak him in a trade because people are like, "Well, I got him, but, if I can get rid of him for cheap." Yeah, they might do that too. So for me, there's also that option of I might try and buy low and take that gamble because he probably don't have to give up much to go out and get him, even with what 7 runs, a bomb, 6 ribs, batting 333. It's also Luis Robert. We're going to be realistic here, and a lot of people have low expectations for him. So there is a world where you can straight up just go out there and just snag him for cheap. And I think that's the strategy and the move for you, because if he does break out, that ceiling is going to be outrageous. So if he's cheap, he's for me. Again, you'd have to trade him pretty high, but again, I'm not trading him anytime soon unless he really is starting to go off, and then that value just hits another level. We'll see. But guys, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, do everything you can to share the show because we truly love bringing it to you each and every day. And here's the deal. If you're watching on video, I send you over to 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network's YouTube channel, and on audio, make your second listen Locked On MLB, where you can check out our boy Sully, who puts on a great show covering the whole MLB. Peace.